Exposure of humans to radiation can cause health problems, depending on the type of radiation, the amount of radiation exposure, and the individual's general health and susceptibility to illness. For the people affected by Chernobyl, the potential impact of the accident on their health was a major concern. Vira Yakusha was living in Kiev and pregnant with her first child at the time of the accident. Vira discussed the situation urgently with her husband and her family.
And so we were thinking about this and that, and there's suddenly a buzz in the door. And I opened the door, and this is, again, my friend, Gena, who, head of the family, who were taking me to Kaniv. And he sort of looks grim. And he said, you know what, I made a decision. I take my girls away to Moscow. I'm taking my girls away to Moscow because I want to get my kids out of here as soon as possible. And his thinking was pretty much the same, that if government admits so much that it's dangerous, then it's really, really dangerous. Yeah, and he said, okay, so my car is downstairs waiting for you. My wife and my kids are in the car, and we have still one place left in this car. This is for Vira. If you want to go with us, you have 40 minutes to pack yourself.
Vira left Kiev that night, and 4 months later in Moscow, she gave birth to Dorina, a healthy baby girl. We can't say whether getting out of Kiev, about 70 miles from the disaster, in the weeks after the accident helped her give birth to a healthy child. Her child may very well have been fine had she continued to live in Kiev.
She is 21 years old right now, and I never had any health problems with her that I could attribute to potential exposure.
Reflecting on her actions many years later, Vira feels that she made the right choice given the information that she had.
My personal feeling is the health of your children or your child is the first priority, because this is something that you are ultimately responsible for. So I would say what I said to myself: put as many miles as you can between the source of radiation and yourself and your baby, and try to get as much information, as much reliable information as you can.
Pregnant women and their unborn babies are particularly vulnerable to the effects of radiation. According to the International Atomic Energy Agency, the potential health risks associated with radiation exposure are highest when a baby is in its early stages of development. Exposure to large doses of radiation during this time could result in severe health effects, such as birth defects, stunted growth, and brain damage. The risks associated with radiation exposure are somewhat lower during the second and third trimesters of pregnancy. During weeks 16 to 25 of a pregnancy, unborn babies exposed to radiation may experience health consequences, but only if the doses of radiation are very, very high, such as those large enough to cause radiation sickness in the mother. After the 26th week of pregnancy, the risks to the unborn baby are lowest since the baby's organs have already been formed. More information about the special health concerns associated with exposure to radiation during pregnancy can be found on the Centers for Disease Control website. Since the Chernobyl accident, much knowledge has been gained about its effect on the health of the people who were exposed to radioactive contamination in the areas surrounding the plant. Between 2003 and 2006, the World Health Organization conducted a series of expert meetings to review all the scientific evidence and evaluate the health impacts of Chernobyl. The WHO expert group reported in April 2006 that the main cancer consequence observed as of that date was the significant increase in thyroid cancer among young people who had lived in the most contaminated areas of Belarus, the Russian Federation, and the Ukraine. These cancers occurred primarily among children and adolescents who drank milk contaminated with radioactive iodine immediately after the accident. The WHO expert group also reported that the Chernobyl accident led to extensive relocation of people, loss of economic stability, and long-term threats to health in current and possibly future generations. High levels of stress, anxiety, and medically unexplained physical symptoms continued to be reported among those affected by the accident. Designation of the affected population as victims rather than survivors has led to feelings of helplessness and lack of control over their future. This has resulted in excessive health concerns or reckless behavior. The WHO expert group concluded overall that the large increase in thyroid cancer incidence among those exposed in childhood and adolescence continues. Fortunately, few of these have been fatal. In contrast, at this time, no clearly demonstrated increase in the incidence of other cancers can be attributed to radiation exposure from the accident. However, the report went on to note that this did not mean that the longer-term cancer risk of those who were exposed had not increased. Based on the experience of other populations exposed to ionizing radiation, the WHO experts predicted that a small increase in the relative risk of cancer is expected, even at the low to moderate doses received, and said that further studies are required to understand the full health effects of the accident.